breaking news from KXAN News.
We want to get straight to that breaking news into our newsroom this morning. Austin Police and Travis County SWAT at the scene of an apartment complex off of North Lamar Boulevard. It's right near Runberg Lane. What we know right now, there's a suspect barricaded inside that apartment, and we do have a crew on the way to the scene. We're working to get more details to give you an idea of exactly how that situation is unfolding right now.
And more breaking news this morning. A house fire overnight now out and 4 people are safe. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tom Miller.
I'm Sally Hernandez. Austin and the Oak Hill Fire Departments working overnight to extinguish those flames. Now, crews responded to a house that is on Hanbridge Lane in southwest Austin. There's a map there. It's off of Circle Drive and 290. AFD says the cause of the fire seems to stem from electrical issues, and they think it happened on the back, maybe on the porch. It has a wooden deck. It began there before going up the wall into the attic, according to firefighters. And at one point, it went out the front door. So they saw flames when they got there at the front door. The 4 people inside made it out safely. Well, it's not just house fires we're talking about. Homeless camps around Austin have been burning too.
Yeah, we saw this over the weekend. Austin firefighters responding to 2 of these. On Saturday night, a fire off East Old Torf Street and East Ben White Boulevard, turning out to be a known homeless camp. The Austin Fire Department said it responded to another fire at a different South Austin camp late Sunday morning. And look at that. Started on a property in South Austin off Peaceful Hill Lane near the intersection of West William Cannon Drive and South Congress Avenue. And that huge plume of smoke was visible from that. We talked with AFD about these encampments to see how often they're responding.
A lot of the fires that we're seeing now, it's been really cold lately, so a lot of the, it's understandable that they're going to try and keep warm. It's just sometimes when they do that, the fire gets out of hand, and then we get a call to go put it out.
Now, what caused both of those fires is still under investigation. That video is amazing.
Going in depth on this, an Austin-based artificial intelligence company is keeping track of homeless camps through an app. Nomadic AI spent the last year collecting data on trash buildup, how big these camps are, how many people are staying in them. It also offers resources and information on how to connect with nonprofits. All that data visible on a map in that app. The CEO telling us it's an effort to connect those in those camps with much needed resources, but can also give first responders some information.
The primary function of the map on our app is for first responders so that they do have a good idea of what they're walking into, whether or not there's propane in the camp, whether or not there's gasoline, chemical waste, stuff like that, just to be aware of when you show up.
Nomadic AI has crews that go into those camps to check them out. Says many of them are in heavily wooded areas that could pose a fire danger, and many are filled with trash and other flammable objects.
First warning weather with meteorologist Kristen Curry.
Well, good morning and happy Monday to you. Let's start with a live look outside in Marble Falls, courtesy of our River City Grill and Highland Furniture friends. Everything looks pretty good. We do have some cloud cover out there, and it is still cold. It is also January, so we should be looking at temperatures in the 30s out in the hill country. Currently down to freezing in Marble Falls, close to in Castell, 38 in Fredericksburg. That matches Johnson City. Austin Metro, we've got our temperatures kind of mixed in the 30s and 40s. 44 here in Austin, but you go up 35 and you're going to find Georgetown cooler at 40. To the south, we've got temperatures in the 30s and 40s. And out towards our eastern communities, temperatures in the 30s and 40s. 40 in Lexington, 44 Cedar Creek, 45 down in Luling. As we go through the day, our temperatures will warm, but not quite to where they should be. Mid-50s is what we're looking at here in Austin today. But it's a steady warm up through the week. We've got a rain chance to talk about come Wednesday and another Arctic cold front in the 7-day forecast. I'll talk you through those details here shortly. But unfortunately, a grim update from the west. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner now investigating at least 24 fire-related deaths. 10 deaths have been confirmed so far by the department, but 14 more cases are now under investigation. The cases are tied to both the Palisades fire and Eaton fire. The medical examiner's office says those new cases cannot yet be confirmed as human remains until they are processed. It seems likely that the death toll will climb as the California wildfires continue to rage and the winds get worse today. The Palisades fire has now burned more than 23,000 acres. The Eaton fire at least 10,000 acres.
Thank you, Kristen. Special Counsel Jack Smith has resigned from the Justice Department. Happened over the weekend. He led 2 federal cases against Donald Trump, one alleging Trump trying to overturn the 2020 election defeat, the other alleging Trump mishandled classified documents. Smith dropped both cases, though, after Trump defeated Vice President Kamala Harris in the November election. Smith citing a long-standing Justice Department rule against prosecuting sitting presidents. However, Smith's report on Trump's alleged involvement in trying to overturn that election in 2020 is expecting to release soon. Trump has denied any of the allegations that were made against him. When freezing temperatures move in, busted pipes are always a concern.
Yeah, while things have warmed up in our area just a little bit, it is still the start of winter. We could see more freezing temperatures down the road. That can be a nightmare if you are leaving town, especially if something goes wrong. Groups that help tenants with housing issues suggest you have a friend stop by if you can.
We would recommend that if you know you're going to be gone for a significant period of time, when there could be a freeze, have a friend or neighbor check in on your apartment to make sure, both for your personal belongings and also so that you don't have issues with your landlord, to make sure that everything is okay.
If you do come back to busted pipes, make sure that you submit the repair request in writing, as Texas law requires that. Round Rock is expanding its Baylor Scott and White Medical Center hospital. That growth will double the capacity there. There's a ribbon cutting today celebrating that expansion. The hospital has invested in new technology and opened a new neonatal intensive care unit. Round Rock has experienced a 30% increase in hospital and clinic visits. It's also seen a 40% rise in newborn deliveries over the past 5 years.
Good morning. Welcome back. President Biden and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu are still working toward that ceasefire in Gaza.
Biden hoping to secure release of hostages taken by Hamas in the October 7th attack before he leaves office next week. The White House says Biden pressed for an immediate return of those hostages yesterday, as well as a surge in humanitarian aid.
Now, earlier in the day, Biden's national security advisor, Jake Sullivan, told CNN's State of the Union that the parties were very, very close to reaching a deal, but still has to get it across the finish line.
Good morning. This is that breaking news that we have been following up in North Austin off North Lamar Boulevard. There is a person who's barricaded inside an apartment complex there. This is the command center set up nearby at a Wells Fargo bank. And so what we know is that police, along with the Travis County Sheriff's Office SWAT team, working to get this person out safely. Obviously, we have a photographer there and we'll provide any updates as they come into our newsroom. But this is developing right now, just started within the last half hour, so we will follow this. To your other news, and President Biden planning to deliver a farewell address to the country from the Oval Office this Wednesday. The administration announcing that last week, but the White House did not give any further details on what the president plans to say. That speech comes less than a week before President-elect Trump's inauguration. And Biden is expected to propose a plan that could limit nicotine levels in cigarettes. The move could come as early as today. The proposal not expected to include tobacco products like e-cigarettes. It also wouldn't touch nicotine replacement patches or lozenges. If the Biden administration goes forward with that proposed rule change, it would still likely take several years to become final. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says cigarette smoking is the leading cause of preventable disease and death in the U.S. Kills more than 480,000 people every year. Going in depth here, this is a last-ditch effort by the administration to push back against the tobacco industry. It's after failing to finalize a long-standing pledge to ban menthol cigarettes. The ban's process began back in 2021, and since then, the Food and Drug Administration has done all it legally can, all it's legally authorized to do in order to finalize that ban. However, the process has been repeatedly delayed. Well, this morning, when we pass our baton, when we sign off right before 7 to our friends over at Today, we will be saying good morning to a new but very familiar face as Craig Melvin is sliding into that anchor chair beside Savannah Guthrie.
Yeah, how to pass the baton to him. They're going to debut as co-anchors this morning. Savannah and Craig are sharing some of their reflections of what this moment means for both of them, and while also sharing some fun and sweet stories about each other. Here, Craig talking about any nerves heading into the morning.
Yes, I am nervous. Here's what helps me, at least. Savannah Guthrie. Because she, from day one, has put me at ease. She makes everyone else around her better anyway. So for me, over the last few weeks, like just being able to look over and like just see her and knowing that she's embraced me, knowing that she's not going to let me fall, that's helped. But
now I'm weepy.
Well, but it's true. Like it helps. It helps when you can go on these magical journeys with someone that you love and you trust and you admire.
Oh, that's a cool picture. I love that. Look at them. You can catch them later here this morning on KXAN, right after KXAN News Today. It's different to see, Savannah with somebody else, but like you said, a familiar face, and I mean, so well deserved. Such a great journalist.
And he's been like on the Today Show, just sort of as like the third anchor for so long. So it's like, they've gone to like, I'm sure, Christmas parties together, and they've spent plenty of time together.
He's just moving chairs,
exactly.
right? Scooting over on the desk.
Yes.
Well, happy first day, Craig. We can't wait to watch you shine. Let me show you what's going on with your forecast here. Hopefully you enjoyed the weekend, had some nice quiet weather, and we start our Monday on the quiet side. Nothing on statewide radar. The storm system that caused all that havoc over the later part of last week is gone. So we enjoy some sunshine later on today. A live look outside from our Ally Medical emergency room camera there. Hard to tell, but there is some high cirrus cloud cover. That's not going to hurt our warm up, but we are starting off very chilly with widespread 30s and 40s this morning, even a couple 20s up there in San Saba County. But you factor in those winds and it's feeling more like lower 30s out in the hill country, lower 40s in the Austin metro. So with that wind, the temperature difference between the wind chill is about 3 to 4 degrees. So you might notice that walking out the door. I still think you need that heavy coat no matter what. We go from those 30s to the lower 50s around lunchtime and a forecast high of 56. Not bad, but also not where we should be. Our temperature is still running about 5 to 7 degrees cooler than normal for this time of year. We pretty much have everybody in those 50s with that northeast wind gusting to about 20-25 miles per hour this morning, but laying down as we get into this evening. Calmer winds gradually through the day today. As far as the high temperatures go, we're going to stay put in these mid to upper 50s for the first half of the week, and then eventually we see a spike here, 60s expected getting into Friday and Saturday here. Eventually a strong cold front moves in. Hold that thought. Let's talk about these sky conditions for the first half of the week, because I do anticipate today to actually hold more sunshine than probably any other day this week. Once we get into tomorrow, we're going to see a little bit more cloud cover, although dry skies. Wednesday, there's a little disturbance down there in South Texas. It's actually scooting over northern Mexico. I think it could throw a few spotty showers our way. This computer is not confident in that, but I've got a few other computers that do support that. So I'm going to go with those other computers and say there's a 10 to 20% chance of some spotty rain on Wednesday, but it doesn't look to be much. Thursday, Friday, still a mix of sun and clouds. As we get into the weekend, though, those rain chances will disappear. So it's really just going to be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with an isolated rain chance. Then our attention turns to the colder weather that's likely to come in behind a strong Arctic cold front Saturday into Sunday. Now, we're not, forecasting anything in the way of wintry precipitation yet. There's a lot of variations with this, and there's just low confidence in that. I'm very confident in the cold air. I'm just not certain there's going to be anything with it. So it's something we'll keep an eye on. We've got plenty of time to watch it, as that doesn't come in until this weekend. In the meantime, some isolated rain chances Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 50s and 60s leading up to the cold front. We drop down to the 30s and 40s behind it. Tom?
Thank you, Kristen. A federal investigation into the 1921 Tulsa race riot has concluded it is too late to bring a criminal case. That riot, though, killed as many as 300 black people. The report tells the story of a white mob attacking a black community in Tulsa. The incident also leading to the destruction of more than 1,200 homes, businesses, schools, churches. In recent years, archaeologists have discovered more than 120 graves connected to that massacre. Federal report states the city of Tulsa resisted offers of meaningful help to the victims and utterly failed to provide necessary aid or assistance.
Back here at home, a South Austin neighborhood is filled with unfinished homes. When you look at it, there are broken windows, there are tattered roofs. And this is the South Stone subdivision we're talking about over on West Ditmar Road in South Austin. A property currently under construction, well, according to the subdivision's website. This home and more than 200 others are supposed to eventually be luxury homes with a clubhouse, resort-style pool. There's a playground they have planned. Instead, there's this. Homes covered in graffiti, tall weeds grown in the driveway. A neighbor nearby says construction started years ago. Then all of a sudden,
it was just a dead stop. It was a dead stop. We didn't have nobody working, no contractors coming by. And then I would say maybe a few months after they stopped, we started seeing some vandalism, like some windows broken.
And this situation prompted the City of Austin's Development Services Department to get involved. The department has received a total of 16 complaints about that subdivision, ranging from illegal dumping, tall weeds, and unsafe structures. When asked what's being done about it, the department told us, quote, code inspectors are addressing complaints as they come in, and we have been working with the property owner to bring the property into compliance, end quote. Well, Texas leads the country in population of military veterans, more than 1.5 million, calling the Lone Star State home. Now, according to a report, though, from the state's Health and Human Services Department, 40% of them struggle with mental health issues. It's a big problem, and that's why one group is using dogs to try and change that. Canines for Warriors, which has a center in San Antonio, matches suffering veterans with a service dog meant to help. Michael Green, a retired Army veteran from here in Austin, said finding his match was the best thing to happen for his mental health and for his life, and that not seeking out help in the first place was a thing of the past, and now it's so much better.
They kind of at times would see therapy and any other types of assistance for mental health as a sign of weakness, but those days are gone. To sit there and try and fight that battle on your own, it's gone.
2024 Canines for Warriors, matching 1,000 warriors with a canine companion.
This is KXAN Sports, brought to you by Thomas J. Henry.
Good morning, all, and happy Monday. Really never a break in college football calendar these days. Less than 48 hours after Texas's season came to an end, UT welcomed a group of recruits Sunday on campus who graduated early. They're going to begin their Longhorn career now. Then there were some decisions being made as far as the next level, and a couple of them made a day ago. Kelvin Banks, no surprise here, the star offensive lineman who's won an Outland Trophy as one of the best tackles in the country, headed to the NFL draft, as is Hayden Connor, a veteran on that offensive line. Group's going to look very new next season. And Jaden Blue, a great running back who excelled late in the season, scored both Texas's touchdowns in their Cotton Bowl loss, is also headed to the NFL draft. To Texas women's basketball, quite the test Sunday against South Carolina, the class of the SEC. Rory Harmon inside in the top 5 matchup. They go up 2-0. That was their largest lead of the game. Some struggles, notably from Madison Booker. Missed her first 10 shots, ended up 3 of 19 in this one. Vic Schaefer's crew trying to claw their way back in it, but South Carolina very good. You see the score here. Joyce Edwards with the and one here, and they're up big are the host Gamecocks. Then 39-22 at half, and then here we go late fourth quarter. Brianna Preston leads a 7-0 run early in the fourth as Texas tries to claw their way back in, but Sanaya Fagan, part of the big day for South Carolina. They win this one 67-50. All right, Saturday we saw the Houston Texans win their playoff game. Then we had to find out who they were going to play. That was dependent on the Buffalo Bills-Denver Broncos game a day ago. Josh Allen on a 4th and 1 for the host Bills. Check out this play. Just unbelievable to Ty Johnson somehow keeps his foot in bounds. Yes, he's a Maryland Terrapin. I'm legally obligated to say that. Good dance, big fella. The Bills win. So it's going to be Houston Texans against the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round. Congrats, Texans. You just get the perennial power in the NFL and the #1 seed in the AFC. That's it for us. We'll send it back over to you.
Coming up, more anguish, and now the high winds returning as families pick up the pieces of what is left of their homes in Southern California after those wildfires. If you are listening on the KXAN Today podcast, thank you so much for joining us. You can find those stories and so much more on our website, KXAN.com.